Ahead of your time.
But what I'm here today to talk to about is social media measurement. Why is it important? What is happening? How did we get here? And emphasis. And who owns your brand? It used to be that your marketing department owns your brand. There was a lot of the conversations really from marketer to the consumer. And what's happened is social media has changed that. Social media now has enabled consumer-to-consumer conversations. And it's just changed it so that now your brand is much more owned by the consumer. What they're saying, what they're talking about, that's the perception and that's what your brand becomes. So if you don't know what they're saying, you're not in any control of your brand. You don't even understand what your brand is that. So your brand is really conversations that are happening through word of mouth today. And word of mouth is not new. This is actually, if you go back hundreds of years, when people would go to the market, that's how they would actually learn about products, is through word of mouth. So we're actually going back to how marketing was done, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, is back to the word of mouth villages where people are talking. It's just that the village is not a physical village anymore. It's communities online. It's communities on Twitter. It's communities, it's social networks. It's little villages. And they talk about Facebook as this huge, 100 million users, but it's really made up of small communities. Really what you want to do is think about what's your social media strategy first. Why are you doing this? What do you want to get out of it? Not just everybody else is doing it, so I got to do it. It's what can this actually do for me? And does that support what my corporate or my personal strategy is? Is that actually in line with how I want to? I'm trying to raise revenue? Am I trying to increase my brand awareness? Am I trying to raise money for a charitable organization? And figure out how am I going to do that. Once you understand the strategy, then you can decide whether I need to be on LinkedIn or whether I need to be on Facebook, whether I need to create a corporate blog, all those different things. But don't just do it. Spend a little bit of time talking about strategy. And what's on the return on investment, I like to look at what's the danger of ignoring it. So you can say what's the return on investment, and it doesn't calculate out because we don't have real numbers. But the danger is bad damaging your brand. Like dominoes. How much did that damage do? Missed opportunities, not knowing that your customer wants things this way or that way, not connecting with your customers. That's the kind of invaluable stuff that I don't think you could put in ROI. Authority and the number of readers are a little bit different, but they're both critical. Discoverability of the content. Because once something comes out, social media has a short shelf life. It has a short half-life for people reading immediately. But then there's discovery. There's Google, right? There's the search engines. They index this, and people will be able to find it for years and years. And this is just the basic types of, how do you measure ROI? You take the costs, you subtract them out of the benefits. That's your net return. And then you divide your net return by how much you invested. And so if I put my net return is 10,000, I spent 100,000, that's a 10% return on investment. That's really, once you decide you want to do something, you want to do it the best you can. Don't just go out there and say, okay, I'm just going to spend this money. I want to try to figure out what's the best way to get our message out, to reach people, to influence them, with connect and engage with them. And if you do certain things, you can get a lot more bang for your effort. So you don't want to just go out there and promote. You want to share, you want to reward. It's not like it used to be where the lawyers 10 years ago would say, if you want to link to my site, you got to get my permission. Now the idea is you want people linked to your site. You want to put content out there. You don't want to block people from your data. You want everybody to share it. You want to give it away. So it's about giving it away and getting in return.